So in this video, we are going to be looking at the third step of finding an apartment in Estonia. In this step, you finally got the chance to visit an apartment that you liked. So what are the things that you need to consider inside the apartment, outside the apartment, that will help you make an educated decision? So I will be giving you a series of different points and questions that you can ask yourself in order to be better prepared. First thing, bring documentation. It's always good to have your resident permit with you with your ID code. It's always good to bring your pay slips, salary statements, and if you have been living in Estonia for a while before, then probably contact person of your previous landlord, just in case. Second thing, which is not necessary but I would still recommend, is to bring a local Estonian friend or an acquaintance. If you have, this will give you more confidence and probably also give more confidence to the landlord, who will not think that you are a psychopath who will ruin his or her apartment. Third thing is to be on time and don't be late. Being late in Estonia is quite frowned upon. I would recommend that you come there at least half an hour before and look around the apartment. What you should look around the apartment is the grocery store first and foremost, because you will be spending quite a lot of time moving back and forth there. Is it possible to go there on foot? How and when the store is open, what kind of variety and food that they have that you consume. Also, you should consider is that what kind of public transport is nearby, because if you are not planning to go to work by a car, then public transport is going to be necessary. The public transport network inside Estonia, especially Tallinn, is quite good, but I would say that it's mostly concentrated inside the city areas. So if you're going from inside the city somewhere, then a tram is probably your best option, including a bus as well. Note that it always takes a little bit more time in public transport, but it's free, so you do save some fuel money. Moving on to the apartment building. Now, first thing is, does the apartment building have a parking spot? Is it covered or is it not? Is there a basement or not? Do you have to pay for the parking spot or is it free? These are very important questions to ask yourself if you have a car, because in the winters when there is quite a lot of snow, you will be spending a lot of time every day removing snow if the car parking is outside as compared to when the car parking is inside. So it's up to you to decide on what is the best way. Is the apartment building renovated or not? Because that can have a significant effect on the energy cost of the whole building. Now, there are different energy classes that are introduced in Estonia, A, B, C, D, and so forth. The initial classes have much higher energy rating, which means that their energy expense is much less. So it's always good to ask the landlord what is the energy class of the building and if the energy audit has been done for this building. Move into the apartment and we look inside. So first thing, is the apartment furnished or not? Quite a lot of times in Estonia, most of the necessary stuff is there, including a fridge, an oven, sometimes a washing machine is also there, a bed, a mattress, a couch sometimes as well. So these things are more or less always there. Sometimes the apartment is very much furnished with all the necessities that you might need, including kitchen stuff as well. So this is a question that you need to ask yourself, how much furnished the apartment should be. If you're coming from abroad, then I'm guessing that you don't have much stuff, so it's probably much better to move into a place which has a lot of furnishings there already. Next thing, what kind of heating does the apartment have? Please understand that Estonia is cold for the majority of the year. Your heating cost is probably going to be a significant portion of your utility bills. So what kind of heating does your apartment have? Is it floor heating? Is it electric heating through wall heaters? Is it central heating from the building basement? Or is it stove heating, for example, where I burn wood like I have? The main question to ask yourself when looking at the heating is firstly how effective it is, and most importantly, do I use, if I'm not here, then do I still pay for the heating or not? This is a very important question to ask, because in terms of central heating, everybody pays whether they're using it or not based on the apartment area that they have. So even if I'm not in Estonia, if I'm not in the apartment for like a week or 2 weeks or a month, I'm still paying the full amount. But central heating is much more comfortable, it's much easier, you don't have to do anything else as compared to, for example, if I have a stove heater where I burn wood. The advantage is that I only use it when I need it, so if I'm not here, I'm not paying, I'm not heating for anything. But on the other hand, it takes every morning, every time I want to heat the apartment, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes to make fire for the apartment to heat up. So this is an important question that you need to ask. There are some other ways as well, for example, an air pump, like an air conditioner. There is also floor heating, which is actually quite effective and quite good. Be very thorough about what is the heating method in the building. Normally it depends on how renovated the building is. Is it old or is it new? Moving on, ask about the utility bills for the past months. This is extremely important. Ask about the utility bills. What kind of utility bills are there in the building? There are quite a lot of utility cost for waste, for apartment repair, for water. Please make sure that you understand all the costs that you need to pay. Ask about the electricity bill. Ask the past 3 or 4 months of electricity bill for this building when it was in use. Now, electricity bills and gas bills in Estonia have really become more expensive because of the rising energy cost. Electricity bills, for example, have just skyrocketed. So ask about what are the bills that are there in the past 3 or 4 months. Also, very important thing that you need to ask about the electricity bill is what kind of electricity contract do you have? Is it a fixed contract or is it a flexible contract? Now, what a fixed contract is, that there is a lump sum cost of each unit that you consume every month. So it does not depend on what time are you using electricity. The flexible bill is where your electricity unit cost is tied to the electricity consumption overall. So for example, the electricity cost is fluctuating up and down depending on the usage of electricity throughout. So for example, if it's Sunday evening, then from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. the electricity cost will be a lot more than what is usual. So please ask what is the type of contract that you have with the electric company, so that you know what kind of cost that you need to prepare for in terms of electricity and also gas. About the windows and doors, so how good are the windows? Usually they're quite good if the apartment is renovated, but I've had an experience where even when you close the windows, that there's still some movement of air, and if you want to heat the apartment, then good luck. Moving on, what about your landlord or landlady? This is a very important question because you will be in contact with them for the next few years at least. It's important to note, okay, do they speak English or they don't speak English? What is the language barrier? Also important to understand is that, do you get along with them? Are you able to understand each other? You don't have any friction, because so many of the disputes that come with these rental contract and these things, we don't really look for this aspect of whether we like the landlord or not. I mean, you don't necessarily have to like them, but you have to be able to get along with them. So this is an important point that sometimes get overlooked. Noise is a very important question, and it's very difficult and very tricky because there is no way to know whether there are any noisy neighbors around, or whether there are parties going on downstairs or outside your building. A good way to find out about that is either ask your landlord, okay, did the previous tenants complain about any noises in the neighbors or outside? And then also what I would recommend is to politely go to your surrounding neighbors and then ask them, okay, have there been any complaints? Do you think this neighborhood is quiet? Because I would tell you that noise is a big problem. It does not happen so much in Estonia because people are usually considerate, but I mean, if you have a problem where you have a neighbor who is noisy, who's playing music and these things, then man, this is something that can really bother you. So make sure that you are somehow aware of what your neighbors are, and is there any possibility of this kind of stuff happening, because that can really be a big problem. And then finally, about if you have any storage space, is there any storage space available? Is there any basement? Is there any extra space? Because let me tell you that your apartment is going to get filled up quite soon and you will need some kind of a space to have some storage. So please ask if there is any extra storage space that is available. So these are the things that you need to consider, or more or less the things that you need to look out for, in my experience, when you go visit an apartment. There are quite a few things that I might have missed, but I understand that you might be knowledgeable enough to look for your own preferences about, okay, if there is anything that I like closets, lighting, or these simple things. I hope this video is very helpful to you. The next and the final video, we will talk about the contract and what are the things that you need to look out for in there. So thank you very much, take care, and I wish you all the best and happy renting. Bye bye.